What's up, guys? Welcome into another episode of Bogey Free. This week we are coming at you with some Memorial Tournament action. No Evan tonight. He is out gallivanting for Memorial Day. So it's just me and Jimmy. As always, you can find me on Twitter at MattJonesTFR and Jimmy at DFS Jimmy. What's going on, man? How we doing tonight?
What's up, dude? Pretty fired up. We got Jack's tournament. It's an invitational. I am ready to move on from last week. It was less than ideal. I said it on the podcast, actually, when Logan said that Justin Rose is his favorite play. And I distinctly remember me saying, as I ran through the top end of the field, that Justin Rose is the guy that I should have more of, but probably won't.
Yeah.
And that was exactly like my words just dug at me all week long, like thinking like, oh yeah, I said that on the podcast. Oh yeah, I said that on the podcast. I didn't put any more Justin Rose in my lineup. I said that on the podcast. So I'm going to try not to repeat the sins of last week, this week, but I am fired up to get to Dublin, Ohio, for the Memorial, to Muirfield Village. But importantly, for anybody up in the Columbus area, before we get into the tournament and the course, do yourself a favor, Google Massey's Pizza, get on your Alexa, whatever you got to do. But if you've not had Massey's Pizza in Columbus, Ohio, you are missing out on life, my friends. 155 pepperonis, purge, well done, thin crust, light sauce. It's perfection in a box, ladies and gentlemen. Go get some. So,
and if you use promo code Bogey, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, seriously, Massey's Pizza. I grew up a little bit in Columbus, Ohio, and have a lot of family up there still. And Massey's Pizza is sort of like a family tradition for us. And they really are phenomenal pizza guys, locally owned and operated. Started out making their own pepperoni, actually, and their pepperoni was so good they decided to make a pizzeria, and the rest is history. But nice. Yeah, really cool place. You should definitely check out Massey's Pizza if you are ever in the Columbus area and you are a pizza fan. You will not regret it.
Solid, like it. Before we get too far down the rabbit hole of Columbus, Ohio pizza and so on and so forth, do have to shout out my pops for taking down the listener league this week.
Absolutely.
Yep. Had a nice lineup. Ended up what, 5 of 6. He had Xander in his lineup and didn't have Rose, but he had Brooks, and Grillo. So solid, nice. Solid lineup. 5 of 6, but the 5 were all in the top 20 with Hadley and Harmon too mixed in there. So that's very solid lineup. And our guest was second this week. Logan came in second in the league as well. So we had a pretty good week for the team here.
All that Justin Rose exposure he had.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I saw the tweet earlier about your pops being a Marine. Yep. Thanks for the service, man. Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Serving, etc. Yeah. So,
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, my lineup was my week was just trashed because I'm pretty sure I had 100% Cantlay and close to 75 or 80% ZJ. So yeah, I had a pretty good other 4 in my lineup in the listener league. I just kind of screwed the pooch there with Cantlay and Johnson. So you live and you learn. We're moving on. All right.
I'm moving on for sure. I don't. I got off of Cantlay a little bit last week after he was cursed drastically or disastrously so. So I moved some of my shares off of him, and I avoided that disaster. But I was unable to avoid the Zach Johnson implosion, which was unfortunate. Yeah, but I am definitely ready to move on to the Memorial.
Sweet. So why don't you hit us with some course info, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about my article that's coming out tomorrow about the rank advantage stuff that I've been talking to people about.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I guess if you haven't checked out my video on FanShare for the Memorial Early Week Rundown, you should definitely do that. But for our listeners and those live here, Muirfield Village, par 72, bent grass greens, just over 7,300 yards. The front 9 significantly easier than the back nine, ladies and gentlemen. You're talking about front nine that plays about a quarter stroke under par, the back nine that plays almost 3/4 of a stroke over par. The 3 closing holes will generate bogeys for almost everybody in the field. Through with those 3, just about everybody's going to bogey one of them, if not more. Par 5s, all very gettable on this course. Par 4s are where the golf tournament is won and lost. No two ways about it. 6 of them over 450 yards, taking about a whole stroke over par. Just about. It's like, I think it's 0.86, 0.90 strokes over par. The par 5s are gettable for most of the guys in the field, and everybody is going to be scoring on them. They are pretty easy par 5s. They do play as the easiest holes on this golf course. The par 3s are kind of difficult, but they don't really swing this golf tournament, in my opinion. It is all about the par 4s here, specifically the long par 4s. That is where you've seen the most success from the recent winners at this track. So a couple of things about Muirfield Village. Inviting looks off of the tee, very penal rough. Fairways should not be missed by too many in the field. They're generous enough, but if you miss them, you are probably looking at bogey. Rough is very long. Jack likes to give you some angles to play with around here as well. Got a lot of creeks and some water in play, as all along the property that sort of winds and undulates through like a rolling woodland type of environment, very different than the courses we've seen the last couple of weeks. So another thing that Jack kind of did here is almost all, I think all but like 3 or 4 of your approach shots on this golf course all play a tick or more downhill. So they all look like a larger, more inviting maybe target than they actually are. And a lot of that has to do with the undulation on the greens, very undulated, and Jack likes to keep them extremely fast around here. He likes them to be as close to Augusta as possible. Jack kind of likes to make it's like his own personal Augusta. So you got a lot of undulation on the greens, very, very fast. Being on the wrong side of the hole definitely hurts you on this golf course. It is a second shot course. So I am focused on strokes gained approach. I am focused on par 4 scoring, par 5 scoring, proximity from 175 to 200, and look for guys that can get a hot putter on bent.
Sweet. Solid.
The other thing about this tournament, every single year it rains.
Yeah.
And this year is no different. It is going to rain this year. We are probably looking at lift, clean, in place for 1 or more days. And I think early weather analysis or early weather look says with the rain, and I did look back, they've had a lot of rain up there this entire month, especially the last 2 weeks. Talked to my uncle up in Columbus. They've just been getting, just downpours almost daily. It seemed like 2 weeks ago. And then last week they had a couple as well. So it should be no shortage of kind of soft conditions around Muirfield. I don't believe they have sub air on the fairways. I think they have it under the greens, so expect the greens to be firm and fast. But I think the conditions on the ground are probably going to favor bombers this week with less roll in the fairways.
Gotcha. Sweet. Yeah. I was going to mention the rain too. That's will definitely play a factor a little bit. So real quick, I don't want to go too far into the weeds because the article's coming out tomorrow and people can read it or ignore it like most of the other articles that I write. But I've been mentioning this every once in a while on the show, and I've been working. I'm calling it like top 25 rank advantage. So how a given course plays for guys who finish in the top 25 in a stat versus those who make the cut but do not finish top 25 in that stat. So just sort of seeing how are DK points affected by performance in different stat categories. So driving distance is plus 3.1 and driving accuracy is plus 4.7 DK points. So a little bit of a bump, but it looks like you should be more focused in on strokes gained off the tee because the guys who finish top 25 in that gain almost 9.5 DK points compared to those who are outside. So whether they get there by driving distance or driving accuracy, it doesn't really matter, just as long as they're gaining strokes off the tee and putting themselves in position, which I think intuitively makes a little bit of sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, you find the short grass and you have a good look and a shorter club in your hand and a confident a confident look at the green anyway. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of these stats, I think just in general, all the analysis that we do tends to be self-fulfilling because golf is intuitive. Like we all know what to do in golf. It's just a matter of executing it, right? Yeah. Like, so I think that's the interesting thing about golf in general when we measure it is everybody's standing on a tee box, whether it's you, me, or a pro. They all know what they have to do. It's just a matter of actually doing it. So I think when we take a look in stats and we try to get the stats to tell us a story, I think that story almost always makes sense to us in hindsight, just because we're all golfers and we all go like, oh yeah, no shit.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it always feels that way to me when we like get to an aha moment in golf stats. It's like, oh yeah, people that hit the green more often make more birdies. Shocking. You know?
Well, yeah, and I think part of this, the research that I've been doing and building this out a little bit has been obviously it's not like something that I'm like claiming is predictive in any way. It's a descriptive stat. It's something that's already happened. I'm not saying that like I can, target one of these things and automatically know who's making the cut by any means. But I also think there's something to be said about confirming what we think by looking at the numbers, right? Like, because some of these courses that I've been looking at, like we think of as bombers courses, but really the difference between the top 10 versus the guys who finish in the top 25, like you don't need to be some elite bomber, right? Driving distance like crazy through the roof. Sometimes it's just, you just need to be a little bit better than everybody at driving distance, right? And I think that we sort of say like, oh, this is a distance course, this is an accuracy course, but sometimes it can be a blend. Like it's not always distance versus accuracy. Sometimes it's just like, or most of the time, I think just be good off the tee and you'll have better looks. Like it's not rocket science, right?
No, but I do think what you're doing is probably important for erasing the biases that the industry does have about certain golf courses and being able to paint maybe a more accurate picture of what success looks like in a DraftKings lineup versus what success looks like on a golf leaderboard. And that there's absolutely a difference. Yep. For our world. So, I think that it absolutely has a place. It's just, I think every time we look at a stat in golf and it, we look back and we go, oh yeah, hit more fairways, easier game. Got it.
Yep.
And
to your point about that also, like DraftKings scoring is, has like a 74%, like 0.74 R squared to finish position. So that means that, over 25% of the scoring for DraftKings is unexplained by the actual tournament finish position, which is a significant amount. Like that makes a difference. If you can find a guy who scores more DK points, but he's T27 over a guy who finishes top 10, but he doesn't score as many DK points. Like that's what we're looking for. We're looking for DraftKings points. So it's something I've been working on.
Zach Johnson, Phil Mickelson, like are the two players that come to mind when you like just talk about, guys that finish well but maybe don't score a ton versus guys that don't finish as well but maybe score just exorbitantly more.
Right.
So, but anyway.
Yeah. So that's coming out this week about how that affects players, and the following week I'll have something out about different courses that you can play around with the numbers yourself if you want, or you can just read the articles I put out and see the data for yourself each week for whatever's relevant for what you're looking at. But we do have an awesome field this week. I think 8 of the top 10 are making an appearance this week, which is pretty solid for a non-major, non-WGC players type field. So let's hop into it. What are we thinking 10K and up?
I mean, it's hard to ignore Dustin Johnson just because I think you kind of hit the nail on the head last week or last time out that the players that, we all had this impression of him that, he's just not as bad as we really think he is. And he showed up on a course that he is, again, struggled with all the way up until last year when he kind of maybe figured it out and then showed this year that he could do it again. So I think that Dustin Johnson's maybe coming in a bit under the radar for a course that I think fits him much better than the one he played last, despite his maybe not, I don't know. I guess his course history doesn't suggest, it doesn't match with how I feel like he fits this golf course. But But one thing about the pricing this week is it's not because it's a 120 man field, and we do have some big names here. We do have a pretty stacked field. It is Jack's place, right? I think that the pricing is a little more fungible. It's a little softer, right? I feel like you can probably feel really good. I've only built a few lineups, and it's pretty early on Monday, but I've only built a few lineups, and so far, like no matter who I've grabbed in this top range, I feel good about the lineup, which always worries me.
Week, right?
Yeah, it always worries me, right, when they do that. So I actually, like, as I've started to build lineups, I actually think I'm going to be really cautious in this top range with my exposures, and I'm going to have so what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to have maybe just a little bit and be underweight on the entire field for this entire top range of guys. But I don't want to miss out because they are extremely talented. They're all in great form. But I actually feel like the construction this week is probably more balanced, and that's the way I'm going to go. So I don't know. I guess I'm not super sold on any of these guys because I know I'm going to take a little piece of each one. And just like but that's not where like the core of my exposure is going to be. I'm not going to be super overweight on any of these guys, I don't believe. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess they're all so good. I don't know. Are you super sold on anybody? I mean, like I know where the chalk's going to land, I think, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not going to be shocking anybody. Like who do you think I'm probably going to roster the most at 10K and up?
Oh, it's JLT.
Right. Like he's what, fifth highest priced and he's Justin Thomas. Like he's the number one golfer in the world for a reason. Like he's number one in my model that I put together for here. So if I do like really take a stand up in this range, which I agree with you, I think you can build some awesome like balance lineups this week because this field is so strong. Like you can go all 8 and 9K guys and feel very comfortable with it. But if I am going to go crazy on one, it's going to be JT, followed reasonably closely by like DJ and Rory, because I think Rory just is an excellent fit for this course. Obviously, I mean, he's done well here the last couple of times he's made starts. So again, I can't sit here and say like, oh, don't play Justin Rose or don't play Jason Day. Like that would be stupid. But I think I would rather just save $1,000 and play JT and move on with my life, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, just I guess to kind of to give the listeners my ranking or whatever, and what it comes down to in this top range. Again, I think I'm going to have just a marginal exposure to each one of these guys, and then really concentrate my core lower. But if I had to rank them, and the way I've done it is like, so I'm on Fantasy National, and before they put their like new beta blended model out, I used to do this manually from them, and I do like 5 or 6 models. Now that I can do a little more, I think model blending is the most accurate way to sort of capture everything. I do model blending in NFL as well, and I found that it works exceptionally well. So I really like to blend all my models or pieces of them together in golf, and I've been doing that for some time. And Fantasy Nationals made it a lot easier with their new beta. And so this week I put together 9 based around ball striking approach, 2 custom models, long par 4 scoring, par 5 scoring, and birdies. And out of that model, it's Justin Rose followed by Rory, then Dustin, then Day, and then JT. That's the way I rank the top. And like my gut tells me to rank them that way as well. I have a feeling though that Jason Day is going to get a lot of hype throughout this week.
Yeah.
And like if there's one guy that like he'll be the lowest owned of all these guys for me up here. He'll probably be just in one lineup, and I get it. But what really worries me about Day is he's not doing any of his damage against the field in strokes gained approach. And this is very much an approach golf course. You can't be on the wrong side of the holes. You can't be on the wrong side of the greens around here. So I don't know. I just like, again, could he show up and his approach game be fine? Sure. But like even in his great performances the last 2 times out, he hasn't gained strokes appreciably against the field with his approach game. So that's concerning to me at 11-1. I think we could be in for maybe a big letdown with Jason Day if that trend continues here. So like I said, I'll probably I rank him Rose, Rory, and DJ above. JT ranks poorly for me, but I think I don't really see that. I think that's 3 years of him coming around at this golf tournament before kind of popping off last year. And I think we could see that kind of go again. JT's been really quiet, like Mount Vesuvius lately.
Yeah, he's JT is out of these top 5 guys, he finishes in the top 25 in strokes gained approach the most frequently out of these top 5 guys, for whatever that's worth.
He also has the most rounds of any of these guys in the top 5 or top 10 under 60 or under 62 in his career.
There you go.
Think about that.
All right, why don't we shoot down to the 9K guys? We have Spieth, Ricky, Tiger, Stenson, Decky, and Leishman. So I think this is a very interesting range that I think if you build a balanced lineup with 2 of these guys and you hit them, you're going to win every bit of all of the money. So who are we liking here?
I think it's interesting. So you think grabbing 2 of these guys is the way to victory right here in the 9K range, huh?
Well, I think Spieth is going to win this week. And
okay. Oh, okay. So that was the insight that I was really looking for. Because no, and that's fine. Because if you feel like you need to grab 2 of these guys, that means one of them in this range is winning. And I was trying to get at who you really are heavy on this week to win.
Yeah, no, Spieth is definitely winning this week.
Interesting. I've kind of been looking past Spieth because of his putter and because Jack's place demands your putter be on. I shouldn't say that it demands it. It's just I was just going to say, I shouldn't say it demands it. It does need to not miss inside of 5 feet.
Well, yeah, that's troubling. I
will give you that. That's maybe the better way to put it. Like, so here's the way I think about Jordan this week. He has a great approach game, but let's say his approach game is slightly off. And instead of being 5 feet under the hole, he's 5 feet above the hole. There is no way Jordan Spieth is dropping a 5-footer above the hole if Jack's place is running fast. Like, I don't know. It just seems like what he's really struggling with right now could really be a problem this week for him if he's on the wrong side of the hole. That said, I totally see it. You'll probably talk me into a little more Spieth. I'm actually on Decky and Leishman, and I think that if you're going to stack 2 guys in the 9K range, you stack the 2 guys at the bottom of this 9K range, and then you get to the low to mid 8s, grab a Kuchar or a Griot, and then you drop down again. That's kind of what I like. Like I have 2 lineups right now. I've only built like 7 so far, and I have 2 that start with Leishman.
Yeah, I don't mind Leishman at all. I would say, I don't know. Can we do our like obligatory 30 seconds on Tiger and then talk about how I rank the rest of the field?
Just 30 seconds on El Tigre. That's it. Oh, wait a minute. Before we get too far along, I need to gloat for just a second since nobody else is on this podcast. I haven't doled out Abby punishment yet.
I was actually going to bring that up with the one and dones because I just pulled up one and done while you were talking, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's right. We did that stupid bet that I wanted no part of."
3 ways. So 1 shot, 3 victims, and I have yet to pick my Abby bet. I actually found a cool picture, but I haven't. I got to send it out. But
are you doing it for all? You're doing the same one for all 3 of us?
Oh yeah, I want everyone to know all 3 of you lost at the same time to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, 3 intelligent people just all sided the same way.
I mean, I don't know how you're counting 3 when I was involved there, but sure.
Fair point. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, Iger is perplexing to me. I think he's going to be more owned than I think he should be on a course that I think demands more out of his driver than he has right now. Again, I think Pat Mayo maybe said it best like 3 months ago or 2 months ago. Like, Tiger's a better technical golfer now than he ever was before. And like, it's hard to think about him that way, but when you look at where he's had success this year, it bears out. Like, Pat's right. I believe he's right anyway, at least thus far. I mean, can Tiger turn it around or fix it? Sure. But where he is, when you ask him on courses where he has to use his driver, he definitely struggles more than the courses where he can hit the stinger, he can hit the 3-wood off of the tee and position himself and then do what he does best, which is into the green and clutch putt, right? Yeah. And so I think people are going to like Tiger for his recent performances, but I think they might overlook the course fit and where he is in his career. Again, do I expect him to make the cut? Yeah. And can he score prolifically? Absolutely. Just I like some other people around him, and I probably like when you look at his course history, he has 2 wins and then a bunch of mediocrity here.
Yeah.
So if he's not going to win, like I don't really care about a T30. So
yeah, I think that's reasonable.
That's just sort of the way I'm at. I mean, am I off base with Tiger here?
No, I think you're right. I think he did not. It's weird though because he didn't do great off the tee at the Players. Didn't do great on approach at the Players. His putter was hot and saved him. Right. He
Super fast bent.
He strikes the ball like unbelievable at Wells Fargo. Gains 7.5 strokes ball striking, and loses almost all of that putting and gains nothing around the green and comes in 55th at the Wells Fargo. Like it's very, I don't know what's the word, like it's very enigmatic to me. Like I don't understand where, like what to value for him, because it seems like the only times that he's done particularly well this year has been like his putter excelling. So if we think that he's going to putt well, which is not something that I feel comfortable predicting, then sure, roster him, go crazy. But I think if you're going to not really know what the putting situation is going to be, then I'd rather just pay $400 and get Spieth, who's going to win, right? Like, I think that there's enough guys around him that are good in a strong field that you don't need to feel like you're going to miss out on him if that's why you're rostering him, basically. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. I'm exhausted.
No, it does. Well, yeah. To preface Matt's mental state here, folks, he is coming off a stretch weekend with a rehearsal dinner followed by a day-long wedding. So you can imagine the amount of alcohol that was consumed.
I did crush the best man speech, though, just for the record.
Really? Do we have a video by chance?
Oh, there's no way I'm sharing that.
All right. Well. Either way,
maybe to you, I'll send it to you, but okay. I'm not like putting it out publicly.
Okay, fair point. You don't feel like it'll go viral and you'll become like an online hero?
I don't think it was that good. I think that people who didn't need to come tell me that it was good said that it was good, so I felt good about it. You know, like It wasn't just like my friends, like it was random people at the wedding. So I think I did pretty well.
Nice. Hey, it's always good to get compliments from random folks.
Oh yeah, that's why we do what we do, right? That's also right. Have to deal with the trolls, but you know, every once in a while, there's some nice people out here.
You know, there's a lot of great people out there. Seriously, I mean, for the most part, I think people are good, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm naive and ignorant, but I think for the most part, you put good out, you get good back, right?
That's what we're working on.
So, what's your stance on Decky? Like, is he maybe turning that corner a little bit? You're not playing Stenson, right? I'm not playing Stenson.
All of everything that I'm doing, trying to figure out who to play, is telling me to play Stenson, but I very rarely play him on anywhere. But for Decky, I don't know, man. Like, I guess he did well. What was that? The Byron Nelson? He was 16th, but like it was his putter, which like if you're gonna rely on Hideki's putter, you're gonna lose a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So, but again, he won here too. Like this is what I'm talking about though. Like, are you in the camp of like fast greens negate good putters? And
yes.
Okay, so then yeah, like why not?
Increased variance always hurts guys that struggle. Like I feel like it just normalizes that, like how badly they putt, I think, because they're just as likely to drop a 20-footer as a guy that's a good putter can drop a 20-footer on greens like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think I would probably go Spieth, Leishman, Fowler, Decky, Woods, Stenson.
Fowler's interesting this week, isn't he? I mean, he has like, so Fowler's got like the same results at all these big time events to me. Mm-hmm. And it's miscut, fucking top 5, miscut top 5, and that's like it seems like everywhere that's Ricky, and like
because he does that in his recent form too. He can miss 3 cuts in a row and then win a tournament. That's why like he's like a snapback into form guy. It doesn't it's never a gradual ramp for him. It's always like, okay, I'm gonna be good this week. Dude, like that's it.
Could Ricky be like the overlooked guy? I mean, like we both just went this entire range without like mentioning him at all, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just looking at like his recent form, and his recent form says he's not nearly as bad as like the mental picture that I paint for Ricky right now.
Yeah. I think a lot of these guys are struggling from that. Like I think as a community we're like very down on like really good golfers for some reason that are ending up finishing well in tournaments, but just because they're not like stringing wins together, we're like going crazy. Like DJ sucks. Like Speed sucks.
Do we set our expectations too high? And like for like because we evaluate this day in and day out, like
I think they set the expectations too high with the stretches that they've gone on. And some people just think that they can continue that and sustain it when it's not something that's sustainable. Like DJ's, first 4 months or 3.5 months of the season last year, that's not something that you can do for your career. Like maybe what Tiger did until now, right? Like it stopped. Even arguably the best golfer in the world, this stretch stopped. Whether that's, because your wife took a 2-iron to your face or not is another conversation, but
it was a 4-iron.
Okay, fair enough. Little less loft.
It was a window.
All right, whatever, close enough. So, but you know what I mean, though? I think Spieth's, what was that, 2015, like screwed him forever. Yes, he's not putting well right now, but I don't give a shit. Like, I really don't care. He's striking the ball better than anybody, and he's really fucking good at golf. Like, just play him when he's $9,800.
You told me Wise, and I played a little Wise, and it saved my week. You're telling me Spieth? I'm gonna play some Spieth. I looked right past him. You've talked me into it. You can stop yelling at me, man. I got feelings.
He's again, top 25 rate in strokes gained approach. Since the beginning of last year, he's 71%. He finishes in the top 25 in strokes gained approach.
No, it makes sense because so
I'll keep chasing it.
All the golfers that I like this week have one thing in common, and generally speaking, I subscribe to the school of ball striking trumps putting, and putting can turn on a dime. Mm-hmm. And to not like Spieth, who is arguably the best ball striker right now, because his putter is atrocious.
Bad. It's bad.
You're right. It definitely deserves more consideration than I've given it, and I'm absolutely going to take some more shares of Spieth than I should. So we've jumped back up, though. I feel like we're going like backwards in our podcast order.
This is the last thing I'll say about this, though, because it bugs me because the same assholes who are like, oh yeah, you got to play Adam Scott, like whatever, he's striking the ball great, who cares about the putter, are the same guys who are like, you can't play Spieth, he can't putt, like he's broken, what's wrong with him? Like you can't have it both ways.
No, you're absolutely right.
Just because people don't like Spieth, I love Spieth. I root for him as hard as anybody. It's like, I would say probably JT, Ricky, Spieth. JT.
You're in that whole Ricky, like SB 2K17 camp. Are you angling to maybe get the invite for 2019?
I'm ready. I got my bag packed.
I don't think you could hang. Could you hang?
I could hang with it. If Ricky's my age, I could hang.
You think? Do you think Ricky's struggling from a hangover? I don't think so.
No, probably
not. No.
I think I could do it.
Hey, listen, Toby Keith said it, man. Listen, you're never as good as I'm never as good as I once was, but I'm as good once.
There you go.
I ever was.
I could throw I could throw a weekend together. I'm not saying I could live their life, but I could throw a weekend together here and there, and I could put some people to shame. So I'm ready. So if you guys want to come on and talk about it at some point, you're more than welcome to. All right, let's keep going because I'm just waiting. This is like one of these times where we're gonna get like chirped on Twitter about all this chit chat. So
chit chat, too much girl talk from that. Yeah, well.
And so all right, so let's go 8K and just like play Finau and Kuchar and move on.
It's kind of what I was thinking, actually. I actually really like Griot again this week.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Does anybody know why Shortzel withdrew? He is rating out really, really well in my blended model. He's played this course well. I liked him last week before he withdrew. But
Let
if he's
me
injured, I don't want
see.
any part of it. But if he's not, I would
Yeah.
love to like take some of that risk. I've looked around, I haven't found anything. So if
Maybe
anybody knows, hit me up. But I
yeah, if
think
somebody knows in the chat, there's a bunch of people watching right now. So if you have any idea.
when you say a bunch, is it like 7 or?
No, we're double digits. Relax. Come on, man.
Nice.
Come on.
Thank you,
Come on.
viewers. We
Yeah,
appreciate you.
this is nice. I know one of them is my dad, but we're still doing all right.
Whatever. Your dad's crushing life, taking down listener leagues.
Yeah, just love it.
So if anybody knows, I really am interested in Shortzel. Like I said, I looked. I haven't found anything, but he has found something in his game recently, and he obviously likes this course. Has played well at Augusta annually. If you watch my course preview video, this course comps well to Augusta. Even Jack talks about it. Charles really intrigues me. And if everybody is going to be on Finau and nobody wants any part of the super risky Charles, I will definitely take like 12% of Charles.
Yeah.
This whole range actually is really interesting to me. I'm a fan of like everybody from Bubba all the way to Finau, like play them all. Like Bubba, Scott, Kuchar, Griot, Mickelson, Shortzel, Finau, sure.
One of the like little chats that I have going on Twitter with a bunch of people, we're talking about Grace, what he was here, then Europe last week, then back. Is that makes me a little nervous. I think that's a lot.
Well, for sure. I mean, if it's like maybe Kiradash bothers me. Rory doesn't bother me because he's got his own jet and everything. But like a lot of like Grace, I'm not even thinking about Grace anyway. Course history, sure, he's playing well, but I don't see like the fit with Grace at this golf course. Too much elevation, not a lot of wind. Just I don't know. I don't see Grace, but I mean, so I haven't really considered it. But the travel does start to come into play this time of the season when guys do start to bounce back and forth.
And that was 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, from now till like the Tour Championship or to the PGA, guys start to bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
Especially the guys that are trying to double duty, like Paul Casey, and there's a couple others that are doing double cards.
Are you playing any Reed this week? Shout out Dustin.
No. I get it. I don't really see this course for Reed, but like he won Augusta, so I can't make the like argument I just made 2 minutes ago. And so I don't know, man. I'm not a Reed fan. I'm not like a fanboy of Patrick Reed. So I'm always like, I have to be really convinced to play him. Yeah. I feel like, or there's got to like, you know what I mean? And like, sure, he's performed pretty well here, and he's obviously playing just great golf right now.
I think I
just probably won't have him. I don't know.
I think you could core like Leishman, Reed, and Kuchar, and go in a couple different ways with your last 3, and have a pretty good like 10 lineups that way. I think that can make a lot of sense.
Sure. Like I said, like I feel like Patrick Reed is probably going to be as owned this week as he was at Augusta, to be honest. Like I don't see a bunch of people talking him up. I don't see a bunch of people getting behind him, and he has probably like the same amount of buzz and or like reasoning justification behind the play as he did at Augusta. Like not a ton, but sure, it's there. And like, I don't know.
Finau's ownership is going to be nuts, right?
I think so, especially with the weather. Once people start, because you know how weather gets, man. People get like a little too far into the weather, I think.
Yeah.
And I think for sure they're going to go crazy with the bomber angle. Plus, he's got course history. It's justified. He's absolutely playing better this year, scoring better this year. All that said, but like I feel like this 8K range is going to be really spread out in ownership, because I do feel like guys are going to go balanced, or they're going to grab one at the top, one in the 8K, and then drop to the low to mid 7s or below. this week. So I feel like this 8K range, while we think guys are going to be super chalky, I think it probably gets a little more spread out because like they priced Kuchar appropriately to me. I think they could have priced him up a little bit more if they wanted to. So like I said, I think that there's a way that every lineup you build feels good, man. It's like it's one of those.
The worst.
It's one of those weeks, and it's because of this 8K range. Like I think it's priced really efficiently. And I mean, dude, if you grabbed a lineup with nothing but if you grabbed a lineup of Finau, Schwartzel, Griot, Kuchar, Bubba, and Louis, or Bubba and CH3 or Horschel, like that would not be a bad lineup. I'm going to get pretty creative with some balanced approaches this week. I saw a note on Smart Golf Bet's course notes, and it said that it kind of mirrored what I think about this golf course, and that's only class golfers tend to really show up here, and that's true. But we've had some like wonky winners here the last few years.
Yeah, Duffner, McGirt.
Yeah, fucking Lingmerth. Like we've had
3 years ago, yeah.
But like the guys right behind him and all the guys chasing him are all elites, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like you could absolutely see a Kyle Stanley who has performed really well at this golf course. You know what I mean? Like there's some great ball strikers in this 8K range that could be that guy. It's the 66-1. And that's why I'm not getting super fired up about the like 11K to 10K guys. Right. Because I feel like there's so much talent that fits this golf course in this 8K to like upper 7K range.
Yeah. Makes sense. I like it. And then, all right. Yeah. So, I mean, we just spent all that time on the 8K range and didn't mention Phil either. So,
same boat. I mean, like he's the guy that finishes top 20, but he finishes top 10 in scoring.
Yeah.
I don't hate the play. I think he's going to make the cut. And if he makes the cut, he has every opportunity on a wet golf course where he's still long enough to compete that he could go absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just going to go like 100% Finau, Kuchar, and either Phil or Reed. And then just mix it up from there. Because you still have some flexibility there, right? Like,
yeah, you can go up and down for sure. Like you probably can't get all the way up to like the top 3, top 5, but you could get somebody in your 9K range and somebody down in your mid 7s or low 7s for sure.
Yeah. All right.
They did a good job of spreading. They did a good job of spreading out this lower end too. They didn't stack them all right in the 72, 7,300 range. There's a couple of guys down low.
Yeah. So why don't we hit the 7K range? Who are you thinking over here? Well, Bryson Lowe?
Man, I don't know. Again, like a comps to Augusta, Bryson's played fairly well at Augusta. I'm just not a huge fan of his. Well. He is. I guess I'm never like, I always feel Bryson's feel like he's more popular than he should be this year. Last year, that wasn't the case, but this year he seems to have a lot of hype around him. And I'm just never I tried to be on the other side of hype.
Yeah. I like this price though.
What's interesting to me about this course and Bryson is his par 5 scoring. He has been early in the season, he really excelled at his par 5 scoring. They're pretty easy around here. He should certainly be able to get that back on track. And if he does, that could give him some confidence to get those long par 4s. And he's very talented, but I don't know. I just feel like he'll probably get a little more buzz than I want. And the guy that I'm kind of looking a little more at is Benny On, right above him. Just kind of like the Asian bomber, he's just a little longer than most of the Asian guys, has great long irons, seems to fit more like the prototypical golfer that succeeds around here. Not a great scrambler. And if you're doing what you should be doing right, you don't need to scramble a ton around here. So I like Benny On at 7,800. Kevin Na keeps coming up in my projections, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan, but Kyle Stanley, I mentioned him earlier. I am going to be having some exposure to Kyle Stanley, kind of like we talked about earlier. Ball striking, not great putting. Kyle Stanley's shown the last couple of years here. I say last couple, but 2 out of the 3 or 4 years he's played here that he can post some good results, and it's mainly due to his just exceptional ball striking, being on the correct side of the hole. and putting himself in good position. So I'll probably take some shares of Kyle Stanley as well. What about you?
Yeah, I mean the ball striking thing is important, right? Like, especially for the worse of a putter you are, the hitting the right part of a green becomes even more important the worse putter that you are. So that definitely makes some sense to me. I wasn't. I don't know. Has he? I'm pulling it up now. Has he? I feel like he hasn't really been around, has he? Like,
Who, Kyle Stanley?
hasn't played since the Players.
So
Yeah, I
two
feel like
weeks.
he took a few weeks off there, and all right. Well, I thought it was longer than that. I forgot he played at the Players, but he missed the cut, and I didn't. I didn't have any of them, so I
He's getting strokes with his approach in his last
yeah,
4 golf tournaments, and that's sort of the thing that
yeah,
I'm
no,
interested in.
makes sense to me. He's always going to do that, and he gains strokes off the tee too, which is important here. So
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. Yeah, I mentioned Bryson already. I like Bryson a ton. Past 24 rounds, he's first in strokes gained approach and eighth in strokes gained off the tee, which are two obviously important things. I will have some Chesson Hadley. I'm becoming more and more of a sucker for him lately. So I'll go there a little bit. I'll play some Louis. I mean, new list is right here at 7,400. Like, perfect. Good price.
Dude, I'm on the list train this week, by the way. I was waiting for you to
It's a
bring
good
him up
price.
because I wasn't going to steal your thunder. But list fits really well for what I think needs to be done at this golf course. And I'm not terribly concerned about his singular miscut in the last 5 years, which was last year. I think it was his first time here last year. So I actually like List this week. I'm hoping not a ton of people do. I don't really know. I don't have any idea what his ownership might be like at this point, but I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't get hyped.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could this whole little stretch, like, sort of, I think Na and Bryson will get some ownership based on some recent form stuff. I think Stanley will go under owned. I do like that call. But then with like lists, like, it's an interesting like grouping here, right? Like, ZJ's right here, super cheap. Like, he could get. I know he missed the cut last week, but I feel like people play him, especially in cash, pretty frequently. Like, I'm sure when I listen to Fire DFS on Wednesday morning, I'm sure Roger's going to be talking about him, or Wedge will. So,
Yeah.
that'll be there. And I don't know, like, Cantlay coming off the miscut, Xander coming off a miscut. Like, this could be an interesting range, because I think one of those guys could really, this whole $7,400 range. I don't know what Chris Kirk is doing in there, but the rest of the $7,400 I think is very interesting for GPPs. I think you could take some shots there and do pretty well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of I'm actually not on Zach Johnson this week, mainly because of the weather. I feel like the course is just going to play longer and longer as the week goes on. Because if you haven't looked at the weather this week, guys, make sure you do that before lock. They're looking at rain 2 to 3 days, pretty consistent out of this 4-day event. So we could be looking at a Monday finish potentially. Just every single year, there's weather issues at this golf tournament, and this year's not going to be any different. So I think that negatively affects Zach Johnson. He's not going to get any longer off the tee. And he's not done exceptionally well here in the past. When I get down into this range, when I get below guys that I feel really good about making the cut, which is probably Benny On, is like the last guy that I feel really comfortable with, maybe Finau. But once I get below that, I am favoring a very particular type of golfer, and it is one that is longer off of the tee and excels at ball striking, and that's it. I don't care about anything else. Because I feel like if the weather plays out the way it should this week, it's just going to be a humongous advantage if you're a mediocre golfer and you're 40 yards past the other mediocre golfers comparative to the field. So
Neiman.
Yeah, Neiman absolutely fits that category. Xander fits that category. I'm sure Cantlay does. I don't really know where Cantlay lines up in driving distance, to be honest. But like Luke List, that's why I'm on List. I think that he has that high ball flight, exceptional long iron game. Like, if they're playing lift, clean, in place, and Luke List is doing Luke List things, which is ball striking out of his mind and missing putts, then Luke List stands an excellent chance to outperform most golfers in this range. Save maybe Xander. So Joaquim, JB Holmes, I'm not sure how much JB Holmes I'm going to have, but he fits that mold. Bud Colley is actually pretty interesting to me. I don't know if he keeps showing up like in the mid range of my blended models, and he has like he's got better course history than you would expect for a guy like Bud Colley at a prestigious invitational only 120 man field event like this. Like Bud Colley is not the kind of guy that strikes me as a top 25 guy here, but that's exactly what he did last year.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cantlay is pretty much always gaining driving distance, according to Fantasy National, since he like came back, starting last year and the beginning of 2017, he hasn't lost driving distance to the field. So he's always above average, at least. Not out of control, but definitely above average. But yeah, I agree with all those guys. Like that makes Bud Colley is a good call. I think I scrolled over him, but probably shouldn't have. So I'll have some at him. Did you say Keith Mitchell at all?
I didn't. Did he withdraw or did he withdraw last week? That was last week, right? Yeah. Why was that? Do you know? Just because he didn't feel like going to Colonial?
Probably.
Like didn't like 5 people withdraw this week. I think maybe.
Yeah, and Keith Mitchell played a ton.
Yeah, that might have just been a rest week for a lot of these guys, knowing they're transitioning out of the South and going up north.
Right.
Same thing with Charles Schwartzel. There might not be anything to it.
And those were I feel like those were Monday withdrawals. Like they weren't
early.
They weren't after a practice round. And these guys commit to stuff because they're hoping that they'll win a tournament, and they're just trying to get in as many fields as they can, and then they actually do well and play like 5 weeks in a row and need a break. Like that's always a possibility here too. So, who's been playing kind of well lately? I think I've written him up the last 2 weeks. Oh wait, no, never mind. I was mistaken. No.
Oh, I was waiting for the drop.
I changed my mind. I forgot that he fell apart pretty horrifically, Martin Pillar. I was gonna say, never mind, nothing. Forget what I said.
Okay, moving on. How about Keegan Bradley?
No, never.
Back-to-back top 10s here.
No, not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I just can't do it. I can't.
No, I hear you. He just fits that mold of long, straight off of the tee, great long irons, longer than average, can't putt. Like once I get below that range of phenom, that's what I'm looking for, and he's in that category. So, like I could see myself playing a little bit of Keegan, potentially a little bit of Uline for the same reason. Definitely a bomber. Scores well. Is that right? I just looked up. Did he play here last year? You have a 20. Yeah. I'm showing a 25th on my sheet. That's not right, is it?
It could be. Let's see.
I like Uline a little more if that's accurate. I didn't realize he had any history here because I think maybe not course history is important, but I do think experience is important to understand how these green complexes are situated and to kind of get a feel for the downhill nature of this golf course. It's very different than a lot of courses on tour in that sense. And Jack made it a purpose to kind of go out of the way to get that. So I do think experience plays well here in the sense that you kind of have to play it once before you can really make a run at it. And that's interesting that Uline's played it and finished well before. I didn't realize that. He's totally worth a flyer at 7,200.
Yeah, and he can definitely string some birdies together. He's
absolutely
he's worth it. I mean, 7,000 easy money. Kevin Tway coming back.
Oh, gosh, I feel like now that you're bringing up Kevin Tway again.
Gaining all the strokes, fella, everywhere. All over
he is. I've been on him the last 2 weeks for sure. I don't see a reason to get off of him this week.
No. I mean, there's no reason to. He hasn't even putted well the last 2 weeks, and he has 2 top 10s. Like, if he last week would have had one of those weeks where you gain like 6.5 strokes putting or something, and he popped because of that, that'd be different. But he's gained at least 3.5 strokes off the tee the last couple weeks and over 2 strokes on approach the last couple weeks. And his ball striking has been good off the tee. He's been positive 4 out of the last 5. Let's go. Let's get him back on the brand train. Like we need to rock this now, Kevin. Don't let me down.
I was worried about you, man. I had to sell you on Tway the last 2 weeks. So I'm glad to see you back in good graces with your man Tway.
But he's like you sort of brought it up too. Like he's one of those guys where he can just straight up overpower a course if
Absolutely.
he chooses. Like he at $7,000, you could do a hell of a lot worse in a GPP than Kevin Tway right now.
For sure. You could be playing Brian Stewart. Ugh. That would be worse.
That would definitely be worse.
Dude, David Lingmerth, I don't know what it is, but the guy absolutely has something figured out here. So if you're on hashtag Team Course History, I know you're not, Matt, but if others out there in the listening public are, David Lingmerth does seem to have a course history angle, obviously playing like total garbage right now, but 15th, 27th, and a first the last 3 years here. It's not like he was playing great the last 3 years either. So definitely he just seems to have something figured out around here if you're dying to play him. I don't know, man. That's it.
No. Are you kidding me right now?
All right, listen, I'm not playing Sink down here. Give me a break.
Take it back right now.
Listen, I get it. He's a good dude. I'm just not playing him. Like, that doesn't make me a bad guy.
You're an insane person.
I'm not an insane person.
You're an insane person. Once this putter turn, you need him. Once this putter turns around, it's over. Sink is winning everything. He's been
everything. Are we? Oh wow. We've gone off the deep end, folks. Somebody stop this man.
He's been putting so bad. He's lost. I just lost it. Hold on. He lost over 4 last week. He lost almost 4 at the Players, the Wells Fargo. He lost almost 3 at Valero. He's been putting so bad. And what do fast greens neutralize, James?
Okay. Fair point.
Come on. And
bad putters.
Yeah. It's happening. This is the week.
You're gonna get a Spieth Sink lineup in my portfolio because of this badgering.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's solid. And if you don't start caping for Ted Potter again, I don't even know who you are.
No, I play guys when it makes sense to play guys. It doesn't make sense to play TPJ. I'm sorry.
4 straight made cuts.
It does. It just I'm
striking the ball well.
He beat DJ. I mean, I get it. It doesn't make sense. I can't see it.
He beat DJ and then missed 5 cuts in a row.
Exactly. Like, how do you predict something like that? Like last week, I said throw a little shekel on TPJ. TPJ shows up last week, right? It made sense last week. It doesn't make sense this week.
3rd round god.
Yeah, like so. There's some other things that make sense this week down here. Ollie makes sense this week as a cut maker with some upside. Obviously, playing like trash in rounds 3 and 4. But again, if you're just trying to get a cut made at 6,900, sure, shot a fucking +6 on Sunday, I think, which is awful.
No. Hold up. No, if you're looking for a cut made at 6,900, there are arguably 3 better choices than Ollie.
Well, there's Sink for sure. I know you're going to bring Gary Woodland up because he's at 6,900, and probably Daniel Summerhays, if I had to guess, at 6,900. No, probably Cody Ara, because you're going to throw that back in my face because I wrote him up for the Players.
He also would fit the bill. Yeah, I would say that's a solid 3 that I would take over Ollie. I think Ollie is, like, as much as you were thinking like Luke List is the hype around him is the dumbest shit ever, like Ollie is objectively not good most of the time.
I didn't say he was good. I said he'd make a cut this week.
No, I know, but like everybody loves him. I'm not lumping you in with that. No. But there are people who cape so fucking hard for this kid, and he does nothing ever. He does nothing.
No, he frequently disappoints.
Always.
Hear me out though. That said, Bryson for an entire year frequently disappointed. Now we're all like, hard up to play him. So these are young guys that have a lot of career left. There's no doubt in my mind that Ollie's going to adjust and get some things figured out. And does he win on tour? Who knows? Is he play better than he's playing right now? Yeah. But one thing you can't take away from Ollie is he's made 15 in the last 19 cuts or 14 in the last 18. Like, guy makes cuts, right? Like 2 years ago, before Bubba went no sugar and went skinny Bubba, we were all looking at Bubba like, damn, that guy makes cuts. And that's what Bubba did, is he made a lot of cuts. So again, I'm not saying Ollie's going to come out and win a golf tournament, but he's making cuts, and he does have upside because he's a young, talented player that when he scores, can score with the likes of Tway and all those guys in his ilk. So
you had to say Tway there, didn't you? You just had
Tway,
to.
Woodland, whatever.
For what it's worth, in this range, the guys who finish the most frequently in the top 25 strokes gained off the tee, Woodland, Glover, and Streelman are the top three there. And for strokes gained on approach, Woodland, Vegas, and Sink. So there you go.
No, your boy Sink actually makes quite a bit more sense than I made it out to be earlier on air, but he actually does. He actually does make quite a bit of sense. If you were down here needing a cash play, he's probably your best option below $7,000.
Yeah, if you really like feel the need to go high and try to fit some low guy in, I think that makes sense. I think that what's his nuts? Shit, why can't I remember his name? Hold on, I'm scrolling. Didn't Simon Bay have like a something that made me think that he was going to be good recently?
He's an exceptional putter on
He had a good round. Oh no, I think he was like top of the leaderboard after the first round at the Byron Nelson, and then like fell completely off. So I misspoke there. That's
former winner of that event at a different golf course.
And he's literally free. Like he's the minimum. Like I'm gonna have one lineup with him.
If you guys want a 5 or 6 lineup, absolutely roster Sang Moon.
How dare you? I wanted him so badly to be part of the brand this year, and it just hasn't worked out for me. So I'm just going to keep beating that dead horse.
Whatever. Grayson Murray showed up in my blended model, but he also literally – so I've had 2 golfers cost me multiple thousands of dollars in the last 4 weeks. One is Adam Scott, who cost me quite literally tens of thousands of dollars. And Grayson Murray, who cost me just, like $4,000. But Grayson Murray absolutely is responsible for $4,000 missing dollars in my bank account by his withdrawal a couple weeks ago after like a chicken shit third round. And I say chicken shit. I don't know. I'm sure maybe he had something going on. I'm not sure. I don't really know. He just withdrew after struggling. Yeah. But he's by far and away the most talented golfer down here below $6,900. I shouldn't say that, below 6,800, because Vegas is a 2-time Canadian winner. But like Grayson Murray, he shows up in my blended model. He fits. He's played this course before. He's played reasonably well at this course before. If you're down here, the only person below 6,800 I'd consider is him.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, what are you? We got a question here.
Can't believe people are still watching.
Core 4. What are we thinking?
You mean they want to know what my core and your core 4 are?
Yeah.
They should probably go the exact opposite of whatever we say.
Well, I think I alluded to it before. I think I'm going to try to go balanced. I think that I could see myself being definitely over 50% on definitely Finau, definitely Kuchar, probably Leishman. And I'm going to probably have 100% Spieth if I can figure out how to do that. Okay. But I don't know that I'm going to love all of those lineups, but that's like, if I could, like if you're talking about just like a cash line, whatever, I really like Spieth this week.
Yeah, I think, hey, listen, man, it's a bold call. If it pays off, you're going to be rich. I don't think I have a core 4 yet. I have a core 2, and they're Kuchar and Griot. And I'm absolutely going to stack them in lineups. I think it's interesting. I think people like inherently don't want to pair guys that are right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could be totally wrong. It just like when I build lineups, it doesn't feel right to pair two guys right next to each other. And I don't know. I just feel like if
I agree with you.
you could stack like I'm going to stack Kuchar and Griot a lot in lineups. Like last week, so like I've been doing this for the last I don't know 3-4 weeks, and instead of doing like a core 4 or a guy I go 100% on, I've been taking two guys, and I've just been going significantly higher than field average. And like last week, it was Tway and Stricker, and I went probably like 60% on both of those guys, and it paid off big time and saved what little opportunity I had by not rostering enough rows.
Right.
Like, and I feel like Kuchar and Griot could be kind of the same thing for me this week. Is I expect both these guys to play pretty well. I expect both of them to make the cut, and I figure if I take, I don't know, 70-80%, just make them the core of all, like every single lineup I build, and then like stagger the rest of my core with Leishman and probably Finau. Again, we're in agreement this week, which means we're all gonna like die horrible deaths, and our money's gonna burn quickly.
100%. Yep.
But I feel like it'll probably be something like 80% Kuchar Griot, and then maybe something like 30% or 40% Leishman Finau, and then everything else will shift around between those.
Yeah. And then last one, Jay Fernandez is asking if Griot can win.
I absolutely believe Griot can win. I think Jay Fernandez is an incredibly sharp individual because I think that this is the week that Griot might be able to actually get it done, and less people are on him. No joke.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at this more because I think it's because he's in between Kuchar and Mickelson that I wasn't really thinking about him, but it's just my dumb brain that.
So hang on, before we get away from that question, I think that's an awesome question because really I think he falls in this weird dead range that he's not going to go under-owned, but I do feel like that guys maybe move off of him a little bit after last week. I mean, even though he played really well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just pulled up Fantasy National, and for the 123 people that have already registered their votes, that is not the case. He is going to be chalky. I hope that levels out a little bit, and I think it will by the time we get to lock. But
yeah, he was over 50% in cash last week, and he was almost 25% in GPPs. So he's definitely getting some buzz here.
It's gonna have to be Charo for all the money then.
There you go.
That's gonna be your low-owned guy.
What are you? I feel like I have to go with Spieth, even though it's not optimal for my one and done. After I've said that he's going to win 5 times this show, I'm a little worried.
Why are you a little worried? You
no, I'm saying
on him.
No. I'm a little worried that like about not going with him after I've like said it so many times because it's going to happen now. Like this will be another winner this week.
Oh, I just assumed you were going with him. I would if I were you. I mean,
I was just
since the first 5 minutes of the show.
I was just making sure that I still had him available. That's all.
Oh, you're just killing time. I got you.
There's a 0% chance that Evan gets his pick in this week. By the way.
Oh, is that because he's hanging out with his girlfriend tonight, or just...
so Evan? If you let's think of something he could tweet me. What's our word for him to prove that he listened to this show today?
Snagglepuss.
If you tweet me Snagglepuss, we'll cook the books and give you an extra like 400, 500K in your one and done. If you tweet me just Snagglepuss, nothing else.
No, we'll give you 250 if you tweet Snagglepuss. We'll give you like 500K if you tweet a funny picture and Snagglepuss of you doing something tonight.
Perfect.
We need some effort involved here.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to he's either A, not going to listen this far, or he's definitely not going to remember to do these things because he's Evan. So it doesn't matter.
Fair point. Fair point.
Where are you going with one and done this week?
I'm working on it. I need you to kill some more time.
Spieth is winning this golf tournament. I think that it's a ridiculous state of affair that saying that the fifth best golfer in the world is going to win is a hot take at this point. Like, this is, what is that?
It is kind of a hot take, though.
I know, but it's ridiculous. He's the fifth best fucking golfer in the world. This is what is that? Occam's razor, whatever the hell that is. Like
Occam's razor.
Yeah,
Simplest answer is almost always a solution.
Right? It's like, fucking stop telling me that I shouldn't play Jordan Spieth. Go away. Leave me alone. Stop telling me that Dustin Johnson is slumping. He's a fucking unbelievable golfer. Like, play him if you want. It doesn't matter. Like, stop. It's so fucking annoying. These people who like nitpick at these unbelievable golfers. It's like, okay, fine. Don't play Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth this week. Go for it. I know JT just became number one, but what's the narrative now? He's gonna sit and eat Popeyes all night, and he's not gonna practice anymore. Like, come on, give me a fucking break. There's my rant.
So Justin, just because of that rant, Justin Thomas became my one and done.
Nice. This is very conflicting.
What? I've already chosen. No, I haven't chosen that player already. There's no way. I just read all these. I haven't chosen him.
When did you use him?
I haven't. That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't used him. I don't know why it's. Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. I'm gonna read them. Harmon, Leishman, Spawn, Cantlay, Decky, Reed, Woods. Like another 12 of them, but it's not him.
All right.
Anyway, I think Justin Rose is an excellent choice this week. I don't really know why it's not letting me pick him, but that's who I'm. You got administrator. I need a security guard over here or something. Somebody's got to fix this.
We'll get a DM out to the guys over at FGM and figure it out. No worries.
Yeah. But either way, Justin Rose. Oh Sweet. No! Look at that! I chose him at the Arnold Palmer. Damn it! I'm stupid. Oh, man. He finished third that week, though, so it wasn't a total waste.
Yeah, that works.
All right, I'm not picking Justin Rose because I can't read. So, you know what? It's Patrick Reed as a super hedge.
Ooh. Dustin will be happy.
That's Never mind. I've chosen him at the Pebble Beach International. Fuck. Oh, we're way too far along. Fuck. I'll pick somebody.
All right, just tweet it out. I'll retweet it. If you guys are that interested, we'll let you know.
Oh my God. I'm failing.
That's all good. All right, we're good.
I got nothing else.
Yeah.
We're success. Jason Day. My one and done. Jason Day. I haven't used him yet.
All right, perfect. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you hop into the Listener League this week and see if you can knock off my dad. I think I made it a little bit bigger this week, so fill it up and don't make me look like a dick. All right. Good luck this week, Jimmy. As always, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk soon. See you guys.
Later.